Some betrayals don't come in whispers or shadows. Sometimes they arrive in broad daylight, spoken with a cruelty so sharp you wonder if the person standing in front of you is even the same one you married. For me, that moment came on a Tuesday evening, over something as small as an argument about going out. Her name is Marissa, my wife, the woman I had trusted with my heart, my future, my life. We had been together for 6 years, married for 3. And somewhere along the line, she stopped seeing me as her partner and started comparing me to her past. It began subtly. Mentions of her ex, Jason. At first, it seemed harmless. Jason always used to fix things himself, she'd say when I called a plumber. Or, Jason was spontaneous, he never needed to plan every detail. I brushed it off. Everyone has a past. Comparisons creep in sometimes, but the comments didn't stop. They grew sharper, more pointed, and each one chipped away at me. That Tuesday, she told me she was going out with a friend. I asked who, and after some hesitation, she admitted, Jason. My stomach dropped. Your ex? Marissa, are you serious? She crossed her arms defiant. It's just dinner. Don't be so insecure, I shook my head. Dinner with your ex isn't innocent. Not when you've been bringing him up constantly. Not when you get that look in your eye every time his name comes up. Her face hardened. You always say no to things. No to going out. No to new experiences. No. You're boring. Jason never said no. That's a real man. The words landed like a knife. She didn't just compare me to him. She elevated him, diminished me, and threw it in my face as if to provoke me. Something inside me shifted then. The months of doubt, of second-guessing myself, of wondering if I was enough, they crystallized into clarity. I realized it didn't matter if she was physically cheating yet. Emotionally, she was already gone. She had already chosen him. I didn't yell. I didn't throw things. I simply stood, walked to the hall closet, and pulled out the suitcase I had packed 2 nights earlier. Because deep down, I had known this confrontation was coming. Her eyes widened. What are you doing? I set the suitcase by the door and pointed to it. My voice was steady, almost calm. That's yours. You don't live here anymore, she blinked, stunned. You're kicking me out? Over one comment? I met her gaze without flinching. It wasn't one comment. It was every time you dragged his name into our marriage. It was every time you made me feel like second best. And tonight, you finally said it out loud. You think he's more of a man than I am. So go to him. Test your theory. But you won't do it as my wife, she tried to laugh, but it came out brittle. You'll regret this. He doesn't want me back, I shrugged. Then you've thrown away your marriage for nothing. But that was your choice. Not mine. Her confidence cracked then. Her voice wavered. Wait, I didn't mean it. I was just angry. Please, let's talk about this. But there are some words you can't take back. Some truths once spoken can't be buried. I opened the door. The night air rushed in. Your ride's outside, I said quietly. Take your suitcase. She stood frozen for a moment, then grabbed the handle with trembling hands. As she stepped out, she looked back at me, her eyes wide and desperate. Please don't end it like this. I held her gaze one last time. You ended it the moment you told me another man was more than I'll ever be. The door closed behind her with a finality that shook the house. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was freeing. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. I wasn't living in the shadow of Jason anymore. I wasn't waiting for the next comparison, the next insult disguised as honesty. The next morning, I called a lawyer. Changed the locks. Blocked her number. Marissa tried, of course. Texts, voicemails, emails. Promises to change. Please to come home. But each time, I remembered her words. Jason never said no. That's a real man. And then I remembered my response, pointing to her suitcase. Refusing to beg, refusing to compete with a ghost from her past. Because in that moment, I finally realized something she never did. Being a real man isn't about never saying no. It's about knowing when to say enough.